Hey, this is Nick. Is that my real name or is it my nickname? It doesn't really matter. I like my privacy, but I also do want to help people. And this is kind of like a work project too, of course. But I just wanted to talk about why schizophrenia sucks. And there's a lot of reasons why it sucks. There's a lot of people who are way worse off than me. And I'm kind of lucky in a way that I don't have it so bad. Like, there's people who take medications and they still hear voices all the time, which I can't imagine how horrible that would be, to be stuck, lost in like limbo forever. Because I had had a few episodes of psychosis, and obviously you're out of touch with reality and you're just wasting your life talking to yourself like in a room, or talking to voices in your head, even if it's not out loud. Like, I would never talk to the voices out loud, but you're still in your head. And yeah, it's just like you have a short life and you're just completely wasting it in this fantasy world where, like, whatever, aliens or the CIA or whatever is after you. And it's just a complete waste of time, even though it feels interesting, right? I will give it that. And it, like, when the voices stop, it actually feels like extremely lonely, which is very weird. You wouldn't think that. So even if the voices are like really evil and abusive, you still feel very alone, because there's a certain level of like intimacy, I guess, with like voices in your own head all the time. So it's sort of like I don't know, it's like a really bad relationship, like an abusive, horrible relationship. Like, for me, it was like, I don't know, 50% pure evil, 25% positive, 25% kind of evil, something like that. And they can get really, really bad and like disgusting and stuff that I probably can't even repeat because I wouldn't want to tell people, really. But whatever the worst thing you can imagine is, it's probably worse than that. So I think it depends on the person, but that was my experience. So there's a lot of reasons why having schizophrenia sucks. A lot. For me personally, I eventually found Latuda, which I don't know if it has side effects or not. I feel like if it does, they're pretty minimal. But it took years to find that, and that whole process was like a huge task. I might go into that sometime, because that's like, you're sick and then you have to spend years experimenting on yourself, trying to figure out what could work, if anything. Like, a lot of people don't get better. And like, I got really fat because of it, because like, I went from being someone who spends like 8 hours a week in the gym and goes hardcore, and like, I had like the startings of a six-pack just from doing like heavy lifting. Like, I wasn't doing any ab work at all. I was just like squatting really heavy, like 400 pounds for 5x5, and I was in super great shape. And then I got schizophrenia, and like, I stopped going to the gym and just started talking to myself all the time, because I thought people were after me, and I was like afraid to go outside. And then I got on medication, and the medication made me gain like over 100 pounds. So like, the hunger was like infinite. Like, you could eat like a whole big pizza by yourself, and then like an hour or two later you'd want to eat again. And it's just like intense cravings for like carbohydrate type food, and I just couldn't stop eating. And I went from like 210 with pretty low body fat. I'd never measured it. I was going to get a DEXA scan sometime soon after that, but I never did it. And because I was pretty close to my ideal body weight, like ideal muscle mass or whatever. And not to brag, but I'd put a lot of hard work into the gym because I had major depressive disorder at the time. And I had decided that I need to get healthy, so I was working on my health, and one of the health things I was doing was the gym. And yeah, so I got on Abilify and Risperidone, and they both make me like infinitely hungry, and I just could not stop eating. Like, I would try so hard to diet, and even though I was trying to diet, like in 3 months I would gain like 25 pounds. And I was good at dieting too. It's not like someone who lacks self-control with impulse control. Like, I was doing keto before that. I knew all about dieting. I knew all about the gym, but I had no energy. And I was dealing with like psychosis and stuff, and it went away though with the medication. But I was dealing with all that, and I just got like really big. And I've lost 70 pounds since then, so I'm like, it's sort of like I gained 100 pounds total. I lost weight, but then I gained 25 back, and then I'm down to where I'm like net. I've only gained 30 pounds net, and I'm back in the gym finally. I finally have money, so well, not really, but yeah, I'm working on getting my SSI, and I don't really have money. So that's part of the reason why I'm making the YouTube channel. I figure I can do this and help. There doesn't seem to be a lot of schizophrenia content up there, and I wanted to share why schizophrenia sucks so much in my story. But when I had psychotic symptoms and I was homeless, I was living in hotels. Luckily, a friend had given me money, and I could stay off the street. But I had symptoms, and they sent mail for Social Security to my house. And since I wasn't living there and I was homeless, I didn't answer the mail, and they cut off my Social Security. And that was 2 years ago. And immediately on the first day when I saw my money wasn't there, I went to Social Security because it was near a hotel that I was staying at. And they actually, still after 2 years, even with a lawyer, they still haven't given me my Social Security back. So I've been depending on family and friends to be able to survive. And also, I got thrown in jail. I was in like this program that was basically a drug program, even though I have no drug use. Like, thank God that the voices didn't convince me to do drugs, because those voices can convince you of anything. And yeah, it's just absolutely horrible. I could go on and on about all this stuff, about all the horrors of schizophrenia, and I just see other people that I've talked to online that have it, and they're completely lost in their psychosis, and they won't take medication, and it's like they're beyond help. It's really sad. Luckily, I got medication, and I might explain and talk about all the stays I've had in the hospitals, like the psych wards and stuff, which are actually overall not too bad. But yeah, schizophrenia is horrible. It can convince you to do anything. It can convince you to kill people. It can convince you to harm yourself or harm others, right? It can convince you that someone's the devil or that someone's an alien after you. It's just brutally hard, and after, most people might go through that for a while, and when they come out the other side, you have to go through everything in your life and find out what was real, what wasn't real, and kind of parse it, and that's pretty hard for people. Like, I'm lucky I'm smart, and I used a lot of logic to figure out what was real and what wasn't, but for a while it was really hard to piece together my life. So schizophrenia just robs you of everything, and also it robs you of like joy, depending, like it depends, your symptoms are variable, but negative symptoms are really horrible, and there's no cure or medication or anything that really helps with them. Besides, I found for myself keto helps a lot with energy levels, with my chronic fatigue, and a bit with the motivation. So I'll talk about that at some point in time, about how keto helps. And I've been doing keto for like, I don't know, it might be close to 10 years, at least 6 years. And I've done very low carb at other points. It's very hard for me to stick with keto, so I usually do very low carb and like kind of like a cyclical keto diet. And that can be helpful for many types of mental illness. So yeah, schizophrenia is just very horrible. And this isn't to be negative, it's just, it is what it is. And I don't think people understand. Like, I got thrown in jail essentially because I had psychosis, and I'm like an outstanding citizen. I never do anything wrong. Like, never had a parking ticket. Not that I really drive a lot, but yeah, it's really awful getting thrown in jail, forced injected, and with like a horrible medication for me, which was Haldol, and like all this stress, and like I don't think YouTube lets you talk about certain topics, but like self-harm is a very real risk. And so it's super hard. It's one of the worst diseases you can get, I think, because it can rob you of like you being in touch with reality. Like no matter how bad other diseases are or problems that you might have, you don't lose touch with reality. Like you're permanently off in some fake world that your mind is conjuring up, and you may never get back. Like some people will still have the voices and delusions on medication, so even with medication, they never really escape, and they're just stuck wasting their lives talking to themselves. And even if it was enjoyable, it's often very abusive. And it's like, almost like being I said it was like being like a POW, because it feels like you're stuck in a war and you're being tortured. So it's really really awful, really stressful, and it never ends. So it's like you wake up, you have it, you're there, you can never escape. Like there's no break time. Maybe like a little bit of alcohol worked like once or twice for me to stop the voices, but that wasn't sustainable, and it didn't seem to work after the first like few times. Just a little bit of alcohol seemed to dampen it, but yeah, luckily the medications did work for me. And that took forever to figure out the right ones though, because even if it stops the voices and stops the delusions, you're still gaining weight, you're really fat, you're unhappy because of that. So how are you going to live your life if you gained 100 pounds? Like that's going to take 20 years off your life for obesity. And schizophrenia already like takes 20 years off your life, I believe, on average. I think due to self-harm, I'm not sure. Probably also obesity and other like just not taking care of yourself. And you can't even do basic stuff. Like for me, taking a shower was really hard for years, even before I had schizophrenia. I had major depressive disorder, and it would be hard for me to even go and take a shower. Like it would seem like climbing Mount Everest to go take a shower. And that doesn't seem to make sense, because I used to enjoy showers and take them for like 45 minutes when I was younger. And the hot water releases endorphins, you feel so good. But I would just not be able to get myself to do it. Or other basic tasks like cooking or cleaning or doing your laundry or anything, like even brushing your teeth, stuff like that. Like anything was just too hard to do besides maybe go to my computer and browse the internet. And even then, a lot of times I would stay in bed. And sometimes even now I have to just stay in bed and do nothing for hours at a time if my fatigue gets bad, or even go to sleep, like take long hour naps. Like I just literally just woke up from a 5-hour nap because I was exhausted. And you never know when that's going to come. It also had to do with, there was a fire alarm last night at like 2 in the morning, and I had to get up and see what that was about for like 15 minutes, and I couldn't sleep for an hour. So there's sleep disturbances, like your quality of sleep usually goes down. I feel like I need more sleep. Like even doing keto, like when I used to do keto before I had schizophrenia, I would only need 5 hours per night of sleep. And now it seems like I need 8 to 10 hours of sleep every night, almost no matter what. I literally just can't get up if I don't have 8 to 10 hours of sleep. And I've tried to reduce it. I've tried some tricks, some biohacks, whatever, to fix it. And it's just, you're not going to get great sleep, and you're going to need way more of it. So that means you, like, for comparison, that would be like you need double the amount of sleep up to. And I mainly don't have symptoms though. Now that I have my medication that works, and I just have chronic fatigue and avolition, which are the main symptoms. Otherwise, I don't really have symptoms besides a bit of memory problems, which isn't too bad. But it is hard to memorize stuff because my memory will blank sometimes, and I'll talk about that sometimes. It's very annoying. So overall, I think I'm lucky. For somebody who has schizoaffective disorder, major depressive type, I feel like I'm lucky, because there's other people who have it so much worse. People that are just, like I said, stuck in unreality and they never get out. Or people who have like done drugs or like serious self-harm, stuff like that. I'm lucky that I haven't had anything like it. I did become like homeless for 2 years, but I never had to be outside. I was in a hotel, and I was in a drug program and in jail. And you think, oh, isn't jail pretty bad? Yes, but a schizophrenic will not be able to take care of themselves on the street that well because they have no energy. So being in jail, you have your food brought to you, you have a bed, and you don't have to do anything, which is basically all you can do when you're in psychosis. You can't do very much to take care of yourself. Anyway, there's lots of other reasons why schizophrenia sucks. I think this video is getting a little bit long, so I'm going to end it here. Thanks for your time, and please, obviously, like, subscribe, the bell, and leave any comments. I'll try to answer them, and I hope this becomes an informative, useful channel just so people can know about schizophrenia and mental health symptoms and all the little tricks and stuff I've found that have helped me, and also to give people support that they feel better. Alright, God bless.